Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These
Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? I meant to put back up instead of the pink flame of liberty up there, which you all might not be able to see very well. But there it is, the pink flame. I meant to put back up the poster that was gifted to me by the Libertarian, some members of the Libertarian Party of Wisconsin the last time I was there, not this past weekend. But I got to find where I put it in the basement. I like changing up my background every once in a while. So sorry, I did not do that yet. My bad. My very bad, actually. This is going to be a somewhat short show. Hi, Mike Seebeck. Oh, I wanted to put up the chat. 1 second here, so people know who I'm talking to. Now, Mike's last comment won't come up, but it basically said, "Hi, my name is Exhausted." Hi, Mike. My name is Exhausted too, which is one reason why this is going to be a short show. I know everyone keeps saying that I sound much better. I guess I do. I'll trust you. I don't feel like I sound much better. And the exhaustion level, whew, am I tired from this weekend. And I donated plasma earlier today. Well, donate's the wrong word because I sell it, actually, because I need the money. But it does go to good use and saves lives and all of that. And it takes a lot out of you. And if you're already pretty tired, it really takes a lot out of you. Oh, and Sue's Views got the Liberty Unmasked t-shirts today. Thanks. Oh, speaking of t-shirts, I wore this last night to a different meeting, but haven't been wearing it all day, so don't freak out, people. But apparently I'm now known as the connoisseur of the sarcastic and arcane t-shirt. So I wanted to show you the t-shirt I had. This is from Amazon. I don't get any kind of money from this. When I saw this shirt, I was like, I gotta have it. Now, take my money. So I want to show you the shirt. It says, "That's a horrible idea. What time?" And I just loved it because that's so me. That shirt is so on me. It's like that one from Wish. I need to find it in my pile of t-shirts. I've got this t-shirt from Wish that shows a guy getting abducted by aliens, and it says, "Get in, loser. We're going to do butt stuff." And I just thought that was great, too. I am really, really twisted, and because low blood today, I need to put on the heater. Sorry if there's a little hum in the background. I can't help it. I do hope you all watched my radio show this weekend, at least the video of my radio show this weekend, where it was all about jury nullification. And I got rather passionate about it because I got rather pissed off the more I thought about the implications of some of the bull crap that goes around that. What do I have left in my intros? I'm not doing the ads today. It will be probably in my next show because I am super, super tired. And my advertisers deserve my best. And I want this to be relatively short. I do have there to donate to my campaign via Venmo. We are I don't know the exact dollar figure. The exact dollar figure is, I'm going to guess, it's probably around $300 I have left to raise to get everything on my wish list done. And if there's swag or something you would like to see me do at convention and you're willing to sponsor it, like Kathy sponsored the pink lanyards, I'm all ears, baby. Just let me know. So please, if you can, there's the Venmo. In show notes of other shows, there's other links. I'll add it to this show. I just don't know whether it will be immediately after this is done. It's a weird thing with Restream why I can't put my complete show notes in. It gives you a very limited space. If you're wondering why I do that. Lastly. Oh, Mike, you'll be happy. The platform committee approved the report this evening. So if anyone is listening from the Convention Oversight Committee, you will be getting the final copy, at least, unless the committee passes supplements, which most committees do, of the platform committee report this evening. And if you follow the platform committee public mailing list, I will be posting it there so the committee can distribute it to its peer groups and the public can see it. But if any of you aren't plugged into any of those sources, just email me and I'll send you a copy of the report. It's meant for wide public distribution. I am going to send it to National and ask them to send an email out to the members with it. Whether they do or not, though, is another matter. I don't know if they will. And that's not, I want to be clear, that's not a criticism of National. Anyone who's in marketing knows you really have to plan out the emails that you send out to your email list. There is a sweet spot which causes the least amount of unsubscribes, and you really have to zealously manage that. So, and Mike, personally, I'm sorry. I think you could tell by what I said. I'm very, very sorry that happened to you. I do suggest you move it from the floor. That's really all I can say on that. I'm of the mindset when I'm on a committee, and you know this, Mike, I've argued this in Colorado before, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me. If there's a plank, in my opinion, this is just my personal opinion, this isn't my opinion as platform committee chair. This is just how I operate. Because it doesn't have to be a plank. It could be any kind of proposal. If there's any kind of proposal that you oppose, but A, you also think it's going to fail on the floor, and B, It is a current issue that deserves to be heard, whether you agree with it or not. And someone on a committee that you have to work with feels very, very passionately about it. Let that person have their proposal. That's kind of the way I operated. Mike knows I did that on Colorado Platform Committee all the time. All the time. Now, if it's something completely harebrained that's not a current issue, I can't even think of an example, then okay. But if something that is relevant in the news and in current events, I don't believe personally that committees should be uber gatekeepers. And at the national level, committees are. In Colorado, not so much. Because in Colorado, members can move proposals easily from the floor as long as they give enough notice. That's not the case with national. In theory, members can move things from the floor, but it's not easy. And I would love to see a bylaws proposal that mimics what Colorado does. So the National Platform Committee and the National Bylaws Committee really are gatekeepers. And I just don't really believe in that. I trust the delegates not to pass things that are bad. The only things I don't like is things being wordsmithed on the floor, and that's not because I don't trust the it's because everybody sucks at wordsmithing things on the floor, particularly bylaws. You could really screw up your organization by wordsmithing bylaws on the floor. That's why I believe in notice requirements, not just so that people aren't ambushed, but it gives proper time for wordsmithing. But so the report is ready. So just wanted to let you guys know that. And my heart was breaking for you, Mike, at that meeting. I had to put aside, obviously, though, my feelings for you as my best friend. And I know you understand that. Okay. What did I want to talk about today? Oh. All right. I had said, and I intend upon keeping that at all costs, that this month we're just going to deal with issues that concern the Libertarian Party if they come up. We're not going to be dealing with personalities unless somebody does something completely terrible, which fortunately hasn't happened yet. But every time I say that, it seems like the LNC says, hold my beer. But so far, yay. But dealing with issues, not people. And I want to even get away from that and get back to history, please. Sweet baby Jesus in a manger. I've got a great historical article to share with you. Any of you who are from Arizona or interested in Arizona, boy, I think it was the Arizona Sun. I think that's or the Sun Gazette used to give the LP of Arizona major press coverage. And there was like this 6-page spread that you guys got in 1974 that I want to highlight and read. It is incredible. Also, I wanted to let you guys know, I can't tell you what it is though, so I'm purposely trolling you a little bit. I have what I believe, I could be completely delusional, but I have what I believe is an effing winning messaging plan for one specific message. Just like already against the next mandate, which would have been a winner if the National Party followed my whole plan, which they didn't. They screwed it up. And one day I'll do a video that lays out what my whole plan was. And you guys are going to go, oh my God, I wish they followed that. But even the little bit they did do was a minor success. But we could have gotten major media, I think, if they followed my entire plan. Now, I have something else, totally unrelated to mandates and things like that, that I am convinced is an absolute winner when it comes to things like that, I'm good at it. I'm the type of person, and Mike will know this, and God bless Wayne, he'll know this. If you hang around with me for a day with a notepad, I will give you 1,000 ideas of things for your affiliate. Now, they won't all be good. Maybe 5 of them will be good, but those 5 will be winners because I am constantly thinking of things because I believe eventually something great will come out. And I just happen to be really good. Everybody has their strengths. One of my strengths is creativity. So I can come up with a shit ton of ideas. Like when people tell me they can't think of something, I'm like, give me 10 minutes. I'll give you 100 ideas. Again, most of them will suck, but you got to brainstorm. But it's easy for me to say because that just happens to be one of my talents. There's other things I can't do that other people can do. And I'm like, oh my God, how do you do that? But anyway, I can't tell you what the idea is, but let me just tell you, I am so jazzed up about this. I cannot even tell you. I am so jazzed up about it that I wrote Angela immediately before this show. Oh, I didn't think you were, by the way, Mike. I knew you had to work. I wrote Angela immediately before the show and said, we have to talk. I think I have $1 million idea. But I told her I'm pitching it to Colorado first. Nothing says National can't pick it up if Colorado runs with it. Nothing says that no other state can pick it up. We tried to pick up New Hampshire's winning ideas with their billboard, but unfortunately the advertisers here in Colorado were chicken and wouldn't let us run it. That's the only reason, because New Hampshire got a crap ton of good press over the billboard they had. That was a winning idea. They got more press than they could possibly have afforded to pay for. But anyway, this is a teaser. I'm going to present it to Colorado first. Colorado, whether Colorado runs with it or not, has no impact on whether or not National can. And National might say that's a terrible idea. Let me tell you, I'm so convinced of this, I would almost consider starting a PAC to raise the money to do it and direct it to the LP Colorado site. Anyway, that's it on that. Since I can't give you details, I just wanted to show you that I'm jazzed up, and this is the shit that drives Wayne crazy because I'm like this all the time. All right, for today, if you're a party member, you may have requested a copy of the list of delegates with addresses. Most people don't, because what the heck do they need that for? But LNC candidates do, because they want to send out mailers. People who say, I'm not saying Mike is going to do this, I'm just using an example, I hope you don't mind, Mike, who say have a platform plank that they want to advocate for from the floor. They might send out an informational mailer to the delegates to say, hey, I'm going to be moving this. I'd appreciate your support. There's a million reasons people will want to send educational materials to the delegates. So as an LNC candidate, I requested the delegate list, and I got it promptly. But it came with a use restriction on it. And I emailed back immediately and said, thank you for the list. Please resend it to me without the illegal, per our bylaws, use restriction on it. While I have no intention of using it for anything else other than sending a mailer for my campaign, so it's not like I have some nefarious purpose here, I just object to anyone putting additional requirements on a bylaws right. It's totally unenforceable for one thing, but I just find that offensive, just as a matter of principle. And we're going to look at, I don't want to pull up the email I got because, again, I'm not trying to make this about any person. I'm just making it about the concept. The use restriction Well, maybe I can read it without putting it on the screen. If you give me one moment. But if I can't find it quickly, I'm just going to paraphrase it because the exact wording really doesn't matter. Nope, that's not it. God, I've got way too many emails in my box. You guys have no frickin' idea. Here it is. Here, okay. The language said, this is a list of the delegates and alternates with mailing address. Excuse me. This list of the delegates and alternates for LNC 2022 with mailing addresses is being provided to you by, and I don't want to mention any names. This list is current as of the date of the email, which was, I think, yesterday or the day before. But the list will be changing as delegations are updated by the affiliate chairs. Please feel free to request an updated list, which, I will regularly do. Only the individual requesting and receiving this list is authorized to use it. And this excludes sharing this information with any organization of which you may be a member. It continues, this list is provided with the understanding that you are a National Party member in good standing. A list of delegates' alternate names is available publicly. This list differs in having the attached mailing addresses and is provided in compliance with current Libertarian Party bylaws. No, it isn't. You may not breach the privacy of delegates and alternates by sharing or selling this list of mailing addresses. Wrong. You cannot add additional restrictions to a bylaw's right. Now, let me be clear before we look at the bylaw in question. I think that request is reasonable. I do think that if you sell this list, you're an asshole. And I think if you give it to somebody you know is going to use it for nefarious purposes, you are an asshole. However, let's say this is about the Mises Caucus without saying it's about the Mises Caucus, because that's exactly what that email is about. I wish the person had just been honest and said, you can't share this with the Mises Caucus, which is bullcrap, because 90% of the Mises Caucus are National Party members and are entitled to have it. And I hate to tell you guys this, but the Mises Caucus mailing list is probably better and bigger than the National Party's mailing list. I don't know that for a fact, but I would guess so. I don't think they're dying for this list. And in fact, though, if they want it, the whole board of the Mises Caucus are National Party members, and they can request it and use it in any way they wish. Further, I find it really, really hypocritical because I'm trying to think of what year it was. It might have been 2016. The Radical Caucus asked me, as an LNC candidate, to provide them a copy of the list I received. So, just saying. Caucuses regularly get the list from their own endorsed internal candidates. There's nothing fishy or wrong about that. I am so tired of this nonsense of people in positions of privilege using their power to A, deny members their bylaws rights, and to target a specific group in this party, even if they don't mention them by name. If you don't think this was about the Mises Caucus, then I have some NFTs to sell you. They're going to be worth $1 million in 2 days, I guarantee it. Obviously, my tongue is firmly planted in my cheek. So let's look at the bylaws in question. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. It's going to cover my face, I'm sure. Let me see if I can make this bigger. That's what she said. Well, that's about as big as I can make it, and that's what he said. But we will read it out loud. And let me tell you what section this is from, since I'm only giving you a snippet. Let me find, if I can. I had the bylaws up on my screen. Here it is. It's from Article 10. So it's Article 10, Section 5. Delegate list. Any party member. It actually doesn't say national party member, but somewhere earlier in these bylaws, it may qualify that wherever it says party member, it means national party member. I don't think that definition is made, though. So if it isn't, that means you can be a member of a county party and request it. But I'm not here to argue about that. I tend to agree you should be a national party member, but I also think you should have to be a national party member to be a national delegate. And the bylaws do not require that. They do. It's interesting. I'm going to look at the bylaws next to see if party member is defined. Because if it's not defined, then that email is wrong in restricting it to national party members. But I do have to tell you, it was always my understanding as secretary that it meant national party member. But I could have been wrong. I'm always hoping to be corrected. I'm going to research that. But anyway, any party member shall be provided upon request. And here's old language that should be deleted from the bylaws because nothing gets mailed anymore. It's emailed at no cost. But anyway, upon request and payment of copying and mailing costs. I mean, maybe one day email will go down. I don't know. Maybe one day somebody will want a mailed copy, and this way the party can charge the mailing costs. Whatever. You can tell this was written in the 70s. Any party member shall be provided upon request and payment of copying and mailing costs a list of the names and addresses of all delegates selected to attend and those who actually attended the most recent 2 conventions, with those who attended clearly identified, and all delegate alternates selected to the upcoming convention if available. Do you see any restrictions on there on how you can use it? No. Nobody, not the LNC, not any subcommittee of the LNC, not any subcommittee of the convention, not me, not you, can add restrictions to that bylaws right. Now, that isn't to say that I don't agree that you should try to respect the privacy of the delegates as much as possible and don't be a jerk. I think don't be a jerk is a great rule of thumb. And I wish that email had merely made that a suggestion. That's fine. But you cannot restrict the use of the list. You can't. So that email was completely improper. And it has a very chilling effect on people who may receive it. I asked in writing for the list to be resent to me without that written restriction, which I do not agree with, even though I said I'm not going to be using it for anything else anyway. That's not the point. The point is the principle for me. So I'm curious. Oh, Chuck, I would love to know, if you don't mind putting in chat the proposed amendment, I would love to see it. And if you somehow disagree with my commentary here, I totally respect your opinion. But you and I have had this discussion before on a bylaws committee where I wanted to make it a bylaws requirement that email addresses also be provided. And it didn't make it out of committee. Because and I can tell you the reason why I think email addresses should be included, by the way. It's because delegate appeal rights depend upon being able to contact delegates. That's another reason for those lists. And unless you have a lot of money, it costs a lot to snail mail everybody on that list to ask them to support your petition. So unless you happen to be a member of a group with a big mailing list or a social media... Oh, okay, Chuck. It's not going to come before the LNC, the JC. By the way, this isn't one of the things I was kind of hinting at before. This is a new thing because it's not an LNC decision. This is just one person saying something. So there's no grounds for it to come before the JC. Anyway, but you're wise. And we've had this discussion before. I don't think you disagree with me. But we can talk about it after convention, perhaps, if you do. Or if you feel comfortable in private. I don't want to push you into anything you're not comfortable with. Yeah, so I don't think only wealthy people should be able to realistically do a member appeal to the JC. Right now, the only people who can do it at a reasonable cost are people who personally happen to have a large email list that includes former delegates, or people like me that are quote-unquote minor celebritarians that can put out a request for signatures and get hundreds of people to respond in 24 hours, along with other people who assisted in Massachusetts. But unless you have those kinds of connections, and I realize I have a position of privilege, other people don't have that. And they should have the same... It shouldn't cost $1,000 to be able to get in touch with the delegates at the last convention in order to file an appeal. Perhaps the bylaw, and this is an idea for an amendment from the floor, if this isn't our, I don't know what your proposed bylaw says, that perhaps if there's an appeal, the LNC will mail out a form letter of some sort to all of the delegates, giving the name of the person and what they're appealing, and saying if you're interested in supporting, get in touch with this person, like act like the go-between, so that email addresses don't have to be revealed. But I think there needs to be some way for people not to have to spend $1,000 to merely exercise their right to a member appeal. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. And anyway, there's something else I wanted to bring up, by the way, now that we're speaking about appeals. I want to be clear. I am not claiming any rule was broken. I don't know if one was, but I don't think one was. But all of these LNC, quote-unquote, LNC responses to a member appeal. Just keep that in mind. A member appeal. There's 2 jurisdictions claimed in the Massachusetts appeal. One is an automatic right of appeal of the Massachusetts board headed by Cordio. But there's a second grounds for jurisdiction, and that is a petition by the members. The one by Cordio, the JC may reject that grounds. The ones by the members, the member signatures, the member qualifying has already been certified. So this is a member appeal right now, for certain. The alleged LNC replies were written by Oliver Hall. How do I know that? Because he sent a Word document for Whitney to forward that still has all of its metadata in it that says the author is Oliver Hall. I'm sorry. I've been a paralegal for 25 years, and I know that when you don't want people to know who wrote something, you strip the metadata. And you don't send a Word document, you send a PDF. Okay, Chuck, that's a very, very interesting amendment. I don't know how I feel about it yet. Because, let me tell you what my pushback is. My pushback is, what if the member found a mailing house that was cheaper. Like the national committee, if you have a bad national committee, which we've seen can happen, they could purposely try to salt the soup by contracting with an expensive mail house. And I don't know how you can avoid that. I think you can avoid that by having the person who wants to mail something select the mail house and send the artwork and all the instructions to the LNC along with payment, because you'll know what the payment is, and then have the LNC send the mail house the addresses. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud, but I'm very, very concerned that a bad LNC could make this prohibitively expensive. I think you understand where I'm going with this. Plus, let me give you another pushback. I'll put this in the survey as well. Now, I think I oppose, because let me tell you why. I do a handwritten note to every delegate. It takes me hours, but I believe in the personal touch. Even if just the handwritten note, because I don't know the person, is just a handwritten note that says, I would appreciate your vote. But if I know the person, I actually personalize my mailers. And I wouldn't be able to do that under this scenario. Because what I do, and as you know this, you've gotten one of my mailers before, Chuck, is I get the mailers printed and sent to me. I go and buy stamps from the post office. I print out labels, and then I get a pink pen, and I personalize every mailer, even if it's just handwriting their name. I think that means a lot. I'm going to give you an anecdotal story. You guys, some of you may remember, there was a time when Amazon was about to go bankrupt. God, we're talking a long time ago, because I worked at the law office on 10th Avenue North when this happened. Oh my God, we're talking 20-something years ago. You want to know what kept me an Amazon customer? I got a personal note from Jeff Bezos himself. Now, of course, it could have been his secretary claiming it. But the fact is, I got a handwritten postcard, purportedly with the signature of Jeff Bezos on it, saying, thank you so much for your business, and just that sort of thing. And I have been a loyal Amazon customer ever since then. It's the only company, major company, and they were even major then when they were about to go bankrupt. They weren't, I mean, they were mostly selling books then. It meant so much to me that's the reason I do that. All of my patrons know that if they provide their mailing address in Patreon, they get a handwritten postcard from me. Nothing insults me more than those ads that come that look like they're handwritten, but they're really printed. That is so insulting to me. Hey, Ken, how you doing? So anyway, that is a very interesting proposal. I'll provide that feedback on the survey when I get it. But thank you very much for sharing it. That still doesn't solve the problem, though, of povertarians. But let me think about it. I'll try to give some productive suggestions rather than just, nah, that sucks. Because I know you and I have been on enough committees to know that you get those comments a lot. And you're like, gee, that's helpful. You suck. You know, we know how that is. Yep, Justin Carmen said something similar happened to him with Chevy. Those personal things make a big difference. Anyway, now you all know to expect a handwritten mailer from me. Let me tell you also another funny story. I just got, it might be 3 months now, returned from the post office, one of my mailers from my 2020 campaign. I kid you not. I wish I'd saved it to show you. Where has it been traveling this whole time? The U.S. Postal Service is great. Anyway, so to put that, to wrap this up in a bow, again, here's the bylaw about the delegate list. No one can add any requirements other than what's in the bylaws, no matter how well-intentioned they may be. So now that there is an LNC member here who might not be aware, people who are requesting the delegate lists are receiving an email making them agree to restrictions, saying that you can't sell the list. And I agree you shouldn't. You'd be an asshole if you did. But the bylaws don't say you can't. And you can't share it with any group you're a member of. In other words, the Mises Caucus. We all know that's what it's about. And sorry, you can't put that restriction in the bylaw. I mean, in the email. You can't. This person is completely violating members' rights right now. And any other LNC members that are listening, I'm not trying to cause a bit, that's why I'm not mentioning any names or anything like that. Please, privately, behind the scenes, resolve this issue. Please. If you want to see a copy of the email I received, write me privately, and I will forward it to you. But let's let the next round of requests that go out not violate our bylaws, please. And I personally requested that the list be resent to me without that restriction put on it. And as I said, because I think Ken's new here, new to the stream, as I said, for the record, I don't intend upon giving the list to anybody, and I certainly don't intend upon selling it. But I'm just offended by my member rights being summarily restricted. I mean, there wasn't even a vote of the LNC on this. And the LNC would have no authority to do it either. But I mean, it's not even coming from the LNC. Like, this is... Chuck, no, I never saw such an email. Chuck's mentioning, I'm trying to keep names out of this, that he saw someone write the LNC saying they were going to have people sign that agreement. I've been watching the LNC list. If you want to go to the Google group and stick a link to that email, maybe it's one that didn't make it to my email box because it's so crowded. But if such person did, the LNC should have told such person that they can't do that because it's adding restrictions to a bylaws member right. And you can't do that. I don't think the request was malicious. I think it was done in absolute good faith, but it's still wrong. Okay, I remember that email you're saying. I didn't understand it to mean that. That's very vague. That is very, very vague. But I see what you're saying now. So I'm asking any LNC member then to clarify that the only restrictions that can be placed on it is what's in the bylaws. Because it's completely unenforceable and has a chilling effect and is allowing someone to, in good faith, again, I don't think it's in bad faith at all, try to restrict member rights. And you can't do that. Gracias, Chuck. Yeah, you can't restrict member rights. So anyone out there who got that email, just know that no, there aren't laws on this. Ken, delegates are, how do I put this? You're allowed to voluntarily give out your address to be put anywhere. The bylaws are public. Any member can read the bylaws and know that by becoming a delegate, their addresses will be public. There's nothing illegal about that. As far as I know, I'm not an attorney. Don't come for me, bar cartel. But I do not believe that violates law. But I'm going to tell you, just as a person, I'll make the request to you. Don't go publishing this list places where people might get unwanted things or harassed in any way. Don't sell the list. Don't give it to people you know are going to use it in a bad way, who can't just request it themselves. In other words, don't be a jerk. I'm requesting that. Me. I can't require it. Neither can the person who sent this email. And if the party ended up trying to go after somebody for that, I think you'd have a lawsuit on your hands. I'm not an attorney, so can't say. But can't do that. Can't do that. So I just wanted to inform people of their rights. Again, I'm going to repeat it for the millionth time because some people like to take me out of context. I do not believe any of this was done in bad faith. I think it was done out of genuine concern for the members, which I share. But I also share a higher concern for member rights and not overstepping the bounds of our bylaws, because we've had kind of a bad problem with that. Now, I wanted to comment on something Chuck said earlier about when we could expect the JC decision. I think I missed that. So I wanted to go back to the Massachusetts thing a little bit. So Chuck, if you don't want to hear anything about Massachusetts, it's nothing that you haven't read already in a brief, by the way. And I don't expect you to comment. Chuck says the JC decision will probably come out Thursday at the end of the period of time for amicus briefs. Thank you for that. FYI, either tonight or tomorrow morning, you'll be receiving an amicus from me. It won't be containing any new information. I'm filing one to honor Judicial Committee member Tom Arnold's request not to have an email discussion. So I'm going to be filing an amicus with the information that I presented in that email discussion with Don Graham. There might be a few more facts added, but that's basically what it is. So it's on the record to respect the wishes of Tom Arnold and so that it's public to the members. I mean, I think Tom Arnold was absolutely right, which is why you haven't heard a peep from me since then. It's kind of I wouldn't call it ex parte communications because all the party, well, in a way it is, because some of the parties are all the member signatories and they weren't all copied. So in kind of a weird sense, it kind of is an ex parte communication, though not fully because some of the parties were involved. But I wanted to go back to the thing about Oliver Hall, the party's attorney, writing the replies. Despite some LNC members going, oh, that was so wonderful, they really are not good replies. Objectively, they're not good replies. They're just not. I'm sorry. I've worked in law a long time. I've been on the winning and losing side of many legal cases I've been on the losing side of a JC decision. When I have worked in law, when the other side filed a good filing, I was always like, damn, woo, that was good. You know, whoa, my God, that was good. I'm not saying they're bad responses just because I'm on the other side of the issue. I think you guys should know me better than that. That when an opponent makes a good point or does something good, I go out of my way to praise them. Because it gives the times I criticize them more weight because you know I'm trying to be fair. But that's not the issue. Bad reply, good reply, that's very subjective. Other people could have different opinions. The problem to me is, and it's not a rule, it's just bad optics and being very tone deaf. A member appeal to use the attorney who is paid for by money from members to defeat a member appeal is gross. It might be perfectly within rules. As I've often said, just because you have a right to do something doesn't make it the right thing to do. I really wish an LNC member would object to this on the LNC list. It's not right. I don't want to say right because I'm not trying to say a rule was broken. It doesn't pass the sniff test. It's bad optics. It positions the LNC as the enemy of the members. And it could have a chilling effect on donations. Whitney is very smart and is perfectly capable of writing her own response, and I think hers would have been better anyway. Mr. Hall has not been good on our bylaws. I've been very vocal about that before. He is excellent on ballot access. Remember, he's the one who gave the LNC the advice that they could unilaterally set a hybrid convention. And we saw how well that went. And if you remember, Mr. Hall claimed it was based upon a written parliamentarian's opinion. And I asked for a copy of that opinion as an LNC member, and he refused to give it to me or anyone else on the LNC. When an attorney relies upon something on their opinion for a client, the client has a right to see that background material. I firmly believe I could have filed a bar complaint. I chose not to because I think the bar is a cartel that I'm not going to go running to. And I don't believe one shitty move should impact somebody's ability to earn a living. But that was bad. That was bad. I still would like to see that alleged written parliamentary opinion. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't believe it exists. Perhaps it does. I would like to read it. Perhaps it would change my mind. I doubt it. But my mind's been changed on things before that I've sworn up and down I'd never change my mind on. But I'd still like to see that parliamentary opinion. So anyway, Justin, I would agree with you. Having the party attorney fight its own members in a member appeal, which is a right under the bylaw, is morally incompatible with the beliefs of the party. I agree with you. And though it's nowhere near the same scope, it's in the same family as, same conceptual family, because it's nowhere near as gross as the issue in dispute right now. The state central committee throwing out people for merely signing a petition, saying that the petition itself was an act of aggression against the state committee. Using a lawyer against members exercising their rights under the bylaws using the lawyer they paid for is adding insult to injury. Ken can correct me if I'm wrong, but when Ken used the party parliamentarian for advice on my case, he paid the parliamentary's fees out of his own pocket. Though I don't think there would have been a problem with him having the party pay for that one, because it wasn't a member appeal. Though I could see his argument. The members elected me, so it was going against the members. If Whitney really felt she needed an attorney to write this, she should have paid for the attorney herself. My opinion. Don't come for me. I'm not citing any rules. I'm citing my personal ethics. But something there does not sit right with me at all. And God damn it, one of the first things you learn in the legal profession is clean the metadata for most of the time when I'm sending out stuff, I don't clean the metadata. I'm not talking about when in a legal capacity, because I don't care that people know when I wrote something. For instance, I was involved in an appeal to the California JC, and I was a California member, and I wrote the majority of the petition with input from other people. And one of the JC members said, we looked at the metadata and saw Karen Ann Harlos. And I go, oh, gee, you got me, Sherlock. I mean, the distinctive language in there would have given it away. You didn't even need to look at metadata, because my speaking style and writing style is very distinctive. I couldn't disguise it if I wanted to. You don't need to look at metadata. And I wasn't trying. It was no secret that I was helping. Just like in the Massachusetts case. If you go and look at the metadata for the filings of Andrew Cordio, you'll see my metadata, because it's not a secret that I represent Brody Elwood, and Brody has asked me to assist Andrew. But there's also something else I want to get out there. Members have been very, very concerned. The word judicial committee is very scary to people who've had no experience in law or a judicial committee. And I think they think it's more formal than it really is. And I think they think that the judicial committee won't take their argument seriously unless it's presented in the proper form. I've tried to assure people that at least this judicial committee, I know for a fact, does not take form over substance. Even if it wasn't in a beautiful form, and even if, you didn't spell everything right. There were some spelling errors in the last thing I wrote, because honestly, I did it super, super late, and this is going to sound weird. I'm still recovering from this with COVID, but there's still a disconnect right now, and it's getting better day by day. But if anyone has gotten texts from me, and I've usually apologized for, or even emails over the past 3 weeks, you'll notice there's like weird spelling errors, or letters will be like say I used the word little. Instead of 2 T's, I put 3 T's. There's like this confusion that I still have that I had really bad when I had COVID, and it's going away. But there's still a little bit there that manifests in my writing. I wonder if anyone else has had that symptom. It's getting better. But right now, my spelling isn't so great. Each day it improves. And word spell check isn't as... I don't know how word spell check didn't catch some of these, because it isn't like it was a real word, just in a wrong context. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just saying, if you catch some spelling errors of mine, I'm wondering if other people who have had COVID had that problem. It's been less than a month since I've been over COVID. It's about 24 days now. Each day it gets better. My brain fog gets better each day as well. I forgot where I was at. Maybe my brain fog isn't getting better. Oh, so some people have been very, very concerned that the JC will be more concerned about form than substance. And I have assured them Do not worry about it. You could, not that there's a mailing address, this was used as an analogy, you could send something to them written in crayon, and as long as they could read it and you had something to say, they would take it into consideration. But unfortunately, people are, whatchamacallit, they're still intimidated. So, full disclosure, I created a template that consists of just the caption, meaning who the parties are, what the jurisdiction is, what the relief requested is, and a little bracket that says insert, like, that says amicus brief of, insert your name, in support of, insert what you're supporting, and have sent that around. So, if anyone is playing detective with amicus briefs filed by other people, and you go and look at the metadata, and you see my name in there anywhere, it's because of that template. Because people have asked me for it, but I can tell you right now, I have not ghost written anything for anyone. The only people I have written things for are things that was disclosed in the JC hearing is Brody Elwood and Andrew Cordio. And it's well known that I'm working, that Brody Elwood is my client. But I have been asked to for people who were scared, who said, "Can I just call you up and tell you what I want to say and you can write it for me?" And I've said, "No. You need to say things in your own words. My writing style is very distinctive, and it will be a very, very bad look for my clients to look like I am ghostwriting a bunch of amicus. So just be assured that I am not, and I have refused to because it's not in the best interest of my client. But you can expect an amicus from me, Chuck Moulton, maybe tonight. Probably tomorrow. I'm getting real tired. I'm sure you expected another one. I'm sure you probably expected 10 more. You're not going to get 10 more from me. Pardon me. Okay, I think that's it. I'm waiting to see if there is any further questions about anything now. And you have a good night, Chuck. I look forward to seeing you in less than a month. So, Rylan, am I still taking names for those who want one of the good name badges? Yes. Email me at KarenAnnHarlos@gmail.com. Please do not private message me or use any other method of communication. They get lost. I'm not a boomer, but I'm almost a boomer. And because of that, I use my email box as my to-do list. So please email me. You could also send it to pinkflameofliberty@gmail.com. Either of those two will reach me, and I will have it printed for you. I can tell you so far, I've gotten hundreds of requests. It's like, I just kind of offered to do this on a lark since I was planning on doing it for me. And this isn't any kind of complaining. I'm thrilled this has taken off. And I'm thrilled to be doing a service. I also will have available buttons that have the Good Liberty Unmasked logo on them. Obviously, the buttons will be free. They will not have anything about my campaign on them because this has nothing to do with my campaign. The t-shirt sales do benefit my campaign, but the badges are free, and they'll say absolutely nothing about my campaign. If you choose to take a pink lanyard, that will have something about my campaign, but you could use the lanyard that the convention committee gets you, because it'll be in a generic holder that will fit any lanyard. So yeah, please email me if you want to have pre-printed one of the good name badges. I will have blanks there, though, that are printed with a good Sharpie. If for some reason you forget, we could handwrite you one. I'm going to try to have a printer there so that we can print more if people want them. And I could tell you, if I get over 500 requests, I'm probably just going to print one for every name on the delegate and alternate list, just to save time. But right now, I haven't gotten 500 requests. I've gotten hundreds, so I've probably got 300 at least. And I don't mind doing it. I already bought the supplies. If you want to contribute towards supplies, that's great. You don't have to. MTAL6 says, if it wasn't for you, I'd have no idea what's going on in the party. Thank you. And thank you. And I do hope that I do try to present both sides, because there's plenty of times that people disagree with the information I'm giving, or the opinion I'm giving on the information. Try to make the information neutral. My opinion, obviously, is not neutral. Okay, everyone, I think I'm going to get going. Wayne and I are trying to get to the end to get caught up with Handmaid's Tale. I think we're towards the end of season 3 right now. So if he's awake, that's what I'm going to go see if he wants to watch another episode. If he's not awake, I got to send off that platform committee report, and I need to write that amicus for Massachusetts. And you heard from Chuck. They're probably releasing a decision late Thursday. So if you are planning on writing an amicus, please get it in. And again, as you heard him also say, they care more about substance than form, so don't worry that it's not technically perfect. That's not required. All right, everyone. I hope you have an awesome night, and I plan on streaming tomorrow. Not sure about what. I have several subjects I want to cover. One of them being educating more. I did some of this, but educating the party members more about regional formation and regional realignments. We talked about that a little bit with what happened with Region 8. But that was done more in the context of a controversy, and I want to do one that's just more just educational, if that makes sense, that just gives you information you might not have, that I know I didn't have when I was a brand new party member, and I'm finding even people who've been around the party a long time don't know some of this stuff. So I like to be an educator. That's really my first love, not stupid drama. All right, everyone. I hope you have an awesome night. Bye-bye.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business, not because they want to